So today I chose the theme that's Solvitur Ambulando. Excuse my Latin if it's not correct there, but it translates to it is solved by walking. And I was thinking there's a lot of walking going on in our world today, so I'm going to use my presentation to get around to the kind of walking that is happening in our midst. But those of us who walk the labyrinth know a lot about walking. I think we know that stepping out with left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. You could do that on your knees right now. This is probably the simplest trauma response that we have. Anything starts to trigger you in any way, just tap your left knee and then your right knee. And the idea that, we have this at our fingertips all the time is really good. And everybody who's ever gone for a walk when they were heated or upset or needing a moment, how many people have done that? Yeah, going for a walk. It's something that we all kind of know intuitively that it's something that gets solved by walking. So we're going to play with this concept a little bit today. I mean, I think the left-right thing, that's the basis of EMDR and other trauma work, that the left and right eyes are activated and that shifts something in the brain. It's just something maybe that as an upright species, we have a particular gift at being able to calm ourselves by the moving from the left to the right. So I've got some slides I'd like to show. So this was my first inspiration for this theme this time. My friend Joan made me this piece, a crafted piece that she made, I think, up at Bishop's Ranch many moons ago. And she used some metal that she hammered out a labyrinth with, and it says at the top, "It is solved by walking, Solvitur Ambulando." And there's our beloved Notre Dame de Belvedere from Chartres, and I see this all the time. So it's in my mind, this idea. And the words in Latin are attributed to St. Augustine, and he received them from Diogenes, a Greek. So it comes through that lineage of Western civilization, this idea of it is solved by walking. And there I am on my newly washed off labyrinth. Was so good to get it back after it had been the staging area for a remodel on my property. It was all full of sawdust and mud, and I thought, oh God, it's never going to come back. And in fact, it did. There it is. So it's easy for me to go out my front door and walk this beautiful path, the Seventh Circuit Medieval. So then I got to thinking, what has my life taught me about walking? And I remembered that in my 20s, I used to go on these long, long, long backpacks with Michael Tripp, who is an Eagle Scout. And it's a part of my life I am so grateful for. Michael is one of the quietest human beings I've ever known in my life. So we would have these walks for days on end with hardly a word spoken. And I used to complain about that to myself and my 20-year-old self, 25-year-old self. But as I look back on it, I realized I really had deep walking meditation retreats all the way through my 20s. And this is a picture. We didn't take any pictures in those days, no iPhones. But this is a picture of the area we used to be in a lot, in the Marble Mountains in Northern California, up at 7,200 feet. And you go up to the top of a ridge and you look out to the east, and there's Mount Shasta. And it was beautiful, beautiful time. And everything would just fall away. I was teaching special ed at the time, and I'd finish my school year and have to have the time of just days walking, when all you had to do was walk and then make camp and sometimes swim in a lake. That kind of simplicity really got in my bones. So I believe that's something of what I know about this concept of it solved by walking. And then my other major experience of walking long was in Nepal in 2008, where we walked in the one half of the Annapurna circuit going like from 3,000 feet to 12,000 feet. It was just walking in this extraordinary landscape. And other people would be walking, and herds of sheep and goats would be walking. Everybody was walking, and the world moved at a pace that was wonderful. This is toward the top of that trek, and over in the left you can see the high Himalayas. But I think we're approaching Multanath at that point, which was 12,500 feet. And then my life has taught me about walking because of our beloved labyrinth. The labyrinth at Chartres, the labyrinth on Iona, at St. Columba's Bay. Each of these labyrinths has a different feel as you walk it, but the walking has always been a dependable practice for coming into a place of presence. This is an impressionistic Grace Cathedral labyrinth. How many times I've walked that labyrinth. And moreover, how many times have I played music for people walking and watched them find the solve, find sometimes a solution, but in the process of walking, finding a place of peace and presence where new thoughts can arrive. We've all witnessed that as we've watched people walk and as we've walked ourselves. It's true. Something really does happen in the walk. And then, of course, there's the endless beach labyrinths that also have that quality after a good long walk on the beach, and then the presence of this particular pattern. That balance is also left and right brain. In Chinese medicine, people are told to move the big muscles because they move the wood meridians of the gallbladder and the liver, which can get congested and uptight and drive us crazy. But simply moving the big muscles of the legs makes a difference physiologically. So that's some of the whys, I think, of what happens. And then this little chant that Ruth put the music to back in 2024, we started to talk about what's really occurring in lots of Lauren's thoughts about the labyrinth and Brian Swim's work about the cosmos. And as he speaks of cosmogenesis and how the labyrinth embodies that conception that we are, in fact, the universe manifesting as we walk, and the walking makes that consciousness come to bear. We made this little chant, step by step emerging, flaring forth in body, soul, and mind. We walk this starry path together, pilgrims, earthlings, humankind. So just if you've read some of Lauren's Substacks lately and the guest person who wrote about his first experience on the labyrinth, he's an astronomer coming to it all fresh. There's some very fascinating things about what our labyrinth is bringing to us. But what the labyrinth is bringing to us, not only the intellectual pieces of that, it's bringing this practice of putting one foot in front of the other. And as Melanie DeMore says, and lead with love. That kind of one foot next step, how walking meditation works. Thich Nhat Hanh says, I take refuge in Mother Earth. Every breath, every step manifests our love. Every breath brings happiness. Every step brings happiness. I see the whole cosmos in the earth. So Thich Nhat Hanh is a great, I'll read you a poem of his at the end too, a great one for understanding what it means to walk and let it all be solved by walking. So then I think where I started with this idea about it is all solved by walking, I was so inspired by the monks. And if anybody has not seen wonderful pictures of monks, Ruth will put probably a URL in there so you can see their website. But these incredible men who are coming from Fort Worth, Texas, all the way to Washington, D.C., have been walking in all kinds of weather. And their practice, they did a large pilgrimage in India before they relocated to Fort Worth, I believe. But they're disciplined monks who just keep going, one foot in front of the other. And they've had such an extraordinary impact on the people that they've walked with. And that's what's so wonderful to see. It's just the antidote to all the awful news of January is to check in on the monks and see what they've been doing. And they're headed, I think they're in DC on the 10th and 11th. They're going to be welcomed at the National Cathedral. This is the head monk and Aloka, the peace dog, who has had some surgery along the way. Everybody's been checking up on Aloka, but this has been a beautiful, beautiful thing. They're just walking for peace and making each day a day for peace. So on next week, they'll be welcomed. They're inviting as many people as could possibly come to visit them at the National Cathedral. Inside, there'll be an interfaith service, but outside, it'll be open to the public. So if anybody's in the DC area, that would be a wonderful thing to do. And then this is an AI-generated imagining of everybody who could be walking for peace right now. I mean, think about that. The possibility of us all just walking step by step, emerging. And that's kind of a beautiful image there. So then I want to just pivot now to talking about our world. And these are the words Ruth will be singing to us later. This is a song that comes from Minnesota that I'm sure we've all heard. Beautiful singing, marching, walking that goes on in the frigid temperatures of Minnesota. Hold on, my dear ones. Here comes the dawn. The hope of people coming together in neighborly connection, coming to a place of presence and remembering the hopefulness of the dawn. So there are some folks in Minneapolis. And there's an image from a drone about how many people were walking together. And the juxtaposition of this image in my mind with the monks who've kind of moved along the Bible Belt toward Washington, D.C. There's something going on here, and the common ground is the walking. And one final image here. This is from the Labyrinth TLS, Labyrinth Society group. They recommended that people take a labyrinth walk on top of a map of Minnesota. And you can imagine this might be a good thing to do on top of many maps or our whole planet. But as you walk, with the intention of bringing peace and healing to what the background is, this was their idea of a subtle activism to bring peace and well-being to this place that is really suffering right now. So it's our turn now. We're going to do a little walking with our fingers. So please get out your labyrinths. And just place that on your lap or in front of you. And we're going to go into a little bit of a guided meditation now. Just feel your labyrinth underneath your hands. If it has ridges, notice that. If not, just see in your mind's eye the pattern, much as we did last time of just imagining yourself in the labyrinth walk, in the imaginal as well as in the physical. And the intention we make to have a walk, let's make that intention to be walking for peace. But also for whatever it might ail you at the moment, any imbalance or any kind of disharmony or dis-ease, Just drawing those things to mind before we walk. The labyrinth will take care of us. It will bring us to the center. It'll bring us home. It'll bring us to belonging. So to prepare ourselves for that, let's just tune in to the breath, allowing the depth of your breath to manifest itself, breath by breath. Allowing a relaxation throughout the body. Allowing a presence of the place you live on the planet to be in your consciousness so that you can root down with your imaginal roots into the nourishing beauty of Mother Earth. And draw from our collective Mother anything you might need in the way of grounding or peace or healing. And feel also the presence of all the realms around us. Realms of the unseen world, the angels, spirits. Just tune to that, whatever that means to you this moment, but let that bathe you in a light of healing and beauty. And let me share with you this poem by Thich Nhat Hanh. Take my hand, we will walk. We will only walk. We will enjoy our walk without thinking of arriving anywhere. Walk peacefully, walk happily. Our walk is a peace walk. Our walk is a happiness walk. Then we learn that there is no peace walk, that peace is the walk. That there is no happiness walk, that happiness is the walk. We walk for ourselves, we walk for everyone, always hand in hand. Walk and touch peace every moment. Walk and touch happiness every moment. Each step brings a fresh breeze. Each step makes a flower bloom under our feet. Kiss the earth with your feet and with your fingertips. Print on earth your love and happiness. Earth will be safe when we feel in us enough safety. So Ruth's going to make some beautiful music for us, and we'll see you at the other side of our walk. A blessing on your walk.
Hold step by step emerging, flaring forth in body, soul, and mind. We walk the starry path together, pilgrims, earthly humankind. Step by step, step by step, step by step emerging, step by step, step by step, emerging, flaring forth in body, soul, and mind. We walk, we walk, we walk this starry path together, together, pilgrims, earthlings, humankind. We walk, we walk, we walk this starry path together, together, pilgrims, earthlings, humankind. Hold on, hold on, my dear ones. Here comes the dawn. Hold on, hold on, my dear ones. Here comes the dawn. Step by step, step by step emerging, step by step emerging, flaring forth in body, soul, and mind. mankind. Hold on, hold on, my dear ones. Here comes the dawn. Hold on, hold on, my dear ones. Here comes the dawn. Step by step, step by step, step by step.
So much gratitude, dear Ruth. Thank you so much for that. Let's just take another moment on the inside with our eyes closed, hands on our labyrinths. Just letting the beautiful sounds we've just heard wash through us, and how beautifully those two tunes harmonized for our hope that it is solved by the walking, that is solved by hearts joined in connection and in kinship, in neighborliness. So just take a moment to send your prayer where it needs to go in this world right now. Know that it comes from source, that we have sourced as we've walked, as we've moved toward the realm of solution, where the dawn comes. It may be a while yet, but we can hold on as we have. So please silently or out loud say those prayers for where you'd love, for the peace and beauty of our labyrinth and the peace and beauty of our connection in our Sangha to find its way into hearts and minds all around the globe and far into the cosmos. And then as you're ready, you can put your labyrinths away and come back to our sharing time. You open the circle for your reflections and whatever you'd like to share with us.
I have this one poem from my sister. Come the sorrow, come the pain, come the sun, come the rain, come the toiling all day long, come the night, come the dawn. Beauty will go on, go on. Beauty will go on.
Ah,
Come the sorrow, come the pain, come the sun, come the rain, come the toiling all day long, come the night, come the dawn. Beauty, beauty will go on, go on, go on. Beauty duty will go on.
Oh, thank you, Ruth. And thank you, Ruth's sister. That's so
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Yes. Mm. Okay, so we've got some announcements. First, since we're talking about singing, Ruth and I are doing an online workshop. So we won't be able to hear each other and sing like that together, but we will be teaching a series of chants that we've been developing over the course of many years, Ruth, right? I mean, the first one was way back in 2000 or something. So that's on April 18th. And Donna has signed up. Thank you, Donna. And I think it would be a lovely thing to welcome many of you here. This is a qualifying workshop also. So please sign up. We'd love to have you all. And there'll be plenty of handouts and plenty of what we always do here in these Friday walks. So let's see, I have a couple other announcements. We just signed, Dawn just signed the contract to have a Women's Dream Quest, a day-long Women's Dream Quest in Point Reyes Station at the Dance Palace. So we are resurrecting ourselves after our time at Grace Cathedral, and we're going to have another sort of experience in a day-long format, and you'll be hearing more about that. But it just speaks to the resilience of these practices that they find their way into presence in another way. Okay, now I'm going to shamelessly promote my pilgrimage to Avalon because I need some people to come on that. I've got 4 spaces I've got to fill, and I would love to have any of you show up for that, and happy to talk to you at length about it if you want. It's on my website, which is circleway.com, but it's a 5-day experience in the southwest part of England, which includes a dawn ceremony at Stonehenge and a trip to Tintagel, where Arthur was conceived, and just a lovely time to live in community together in this old house that's adjacent to the most beautiful garden I've ever seen in my life.
I highly recommend it. I went. So, so beautiful. And to be living in Chalice Well Gardens.
Yeah.
Oh, heaven.